Hi, welcome to the Chad Bozarth Show. Thanks for listening. Darren!
So I was stressing out, Chad. I was like, last minute, I'm like, I couldn't log in. I'm like, Chad's going to get me. And this,
Well,
so is this audio or just video?
Well, I'm only going to post the video. I mean, the audio.
Audio. Oh, okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
I got a haircut for nothing.
But, but you look good, man. You know, Darren, you kind of feel like an older brother to me, even though you never call or text me. I still kind of feel that.
I know. So let me, can you hear the dogs over there? Is that annoying in the wind chimes? So I can move in the house if I need to.
No, I can hear the wind chimes a little bit, but I like it.
Okay. Because it's worse,
Yeah.
probably worse on the inside.
Well, Darren.
Chad.
I'm so happy to see you, man.
Hey, so this is like my very first podcast ever. I've always wanted to do a podcast. Like when I
Are you serious? You're the garage sale genius.
No, I've never done a pod, never been on one, never asked to be on one, never did one.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like one day when I'm famous, I will.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know.
Darren, you are so interesting. I mean, you know, I'm gonna put a link to your YouTube channel in the description. How long have you been doing garage sales and flea markets and stuff like that?
So I did since 2002.
Wow.
Started. That's when I first got hooked in 2002.
What was what made you get started in that?
What started it? Okay, so I just had I think Dean gave me a computer and it was still dial up. And there's a reminder to be on here. And so I'm sitting in the living room on the computer and I got on eBay. Amy got me on eBay. And Julie comes in, she goes, "Hey, I've got this purse I paid $3 for. I don't want it. Maybe we can put it on eBay." I'm like, okay. So I put that purse on eBay and sold it for like $20. And so since then, I've been hooked. Ever since then, since 2002, I'm nonstop selling on eBay.
Wow. That is amazing. So let me ask you this, because I think how I grew up, maybe how you grew up, our family, like I've always loved going to garage sales. And have you seen, I always had in my mind, I think I would be a nice person now, but I always, when I was growing up, I was collecting baseball cards, and I always had in my mind, this like holy grail moment. You're at somebody's garage sale and you
Mm-hmm.
find some card and the person has no idea what they have. And
Yes.
like I said, now I feel like I would probably tell them now, but that was when I was dreaming. That was the dream, right? But so let me ask you, have you ever had an experience like that? And then over the years, since eBay is such a common thing now, I feel like everybody kind of knows what they have because they can check it out so quick.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I had one of those. So I'm going to tell everybody, if you go yard selling, make sure, not everybody has it, but if you can bring some cash, I mean like several $100s, bring it, because you just never know what you're going to find. And I got a couple stories to tell you, but this last one, I had like $20. That's all I had to spend on yard sales. So I went to this yard sale and this lady had this box, and in this box was sports cards. And in it was Emmitt Smith rookies, Michael Jordan early cards. One of them was a Michael Jordan '86 Fleer rookie, which was the sticker. There's two of them. You got the regular card, and you got a card that's a sticker. Well, she had the sticker, and there were several $1,000s worth of cards in this box. And I said, "Hey," I said, "how much do you want for the box?" She said, $60. Well, if I would have had $60, I would have been able to get that whole box. So I said, well, okay. So I started picking through them and I picked out some of the good ones. Well, she sort of knew what I did that I sold on eBay. And it sparked her interest why I picked out these several cards. And one of them was a Michael Jordan rookie. And she looked at it and she started looking on her phone and she changed her. She goes, I can't sell you this for 60. Anyhow, I wound up paying $800 for those cards because she knew what she had at the time, because I didn't have enough money to, to buy the whole box. But I still made a few $1,000s off of it. And that was like one of the holy grail times for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
So if you would have had $80 with you,
if I would have had $60 on
or
me,
60
the
bucks.
whole box. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah. But then I have another story that me and Julie were having like really hard. I had literally $4 to my name. And this was back when we first started. And I'm like, I told Julie, I said, I'm going out yard selling. So I went out. First yard sale, I found this crystal bowl, and it was a good size, like a fruit bowl. It was crystal, and it was trimmed. The rim was trimmed in sterling silver, and I paid $2 for it. So I left there, and I went to another thrift store, and the person that owned the thrift store didn't like it. She knew I sold on eBay, and she always just hid stuff from me. She wouldn't sell certain things to me sometimes. She just didn't like me. Well, in the jewelry case, there was a necklace. And this necklace, it was a gold necklace, but it was marked in the decimal 585, which is 14 karat. And if you didn't know that, you would have no idea that was 14 karat gold necklace. So I asked her, I said, how much do you want for this necklace? She says, $12. Well, I had the crystal bowl and $2 to my name. I said, I tell you what, I'll trade you this bowl for this necklace. She goes, nah, no. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the bowl and $2. She says, okay. So I took that necklace down to the pawn shop where I work at now. At the time, this was years ago. And I sold that necklace for $400. So I flipped $4 into $400 in just, an hour or so. That,
Oh my
that's another
goodness.
one of my success stories. Yeah. I'll never forget.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you know all this stuff? Like
So
just the details and know like because there's so much that must come through your hands like at the pawn shop or in garage sales and there's so much junk. How do you have an eye for what's valuable and what's not without just spending hours just checking everything online?
So that's it. It's spending hours. When I first started, I spent so much money on stuff that I thought was like worth $1 million, and it wound up being garbage.
Hmm.
And I have donated a lot of stuff that I thought was valuable, and I just learned the hard way, by buying stuff, thinking it's worth something, going home, researching it, and finding out it's garbage. Like Beanie Babies. I bought 400 Beanie Babies one time, thinking I was going to be rich.
Have
And
you seen that
wound up,
documentary about Beanie Babies?
yeah. No, I didn't see that.
Oh, I forget what it's called. You have to watch it. I'll have to find it. I don't remember what streaming thing it's on, but it is great, and they highlight the young lady who came up with the little taglines on the Beanie Babies, the little poems or whatever they were. Oh, you got to watch this documentary. I'll send it to you.
When
But
it, first, when it first came out, it was like they were on fire.
I
But
remember.
I bought these were years later, and I mean, this guy literally had 400 of them. I finally gave them away. I was just not.
So at this point, so you've been doing this since 2002. If somebody is just wanting to get started in garage selling and reselling and selling on eBay or whatever, has that ship sailed or is there still an opportunity to get into that?
There's still an opportunity. I mean, Julie hates. Well, she hated going to yard sales and thrift stores and Goodwills. Well, now here lately, she's been liking going to the Goodwill, because we're finding stuff, and she's seeing the stuff that I'm finding, that I'm able to flip. Even at Goodwill, I pay a little bit more money for it, but you can still make, make some money. Yard sales is the best place to get inventory. Um, but what I tell people is, if you want to get started selling on eBay, start selling stuff around your house first, stuff that you're not spending money on, because you don't want to spend a lot of money and getting in debt. So sell the stuff around your house first. Get rid of that. Then you get used to listing, taking pictures, doing the titles and the descriptions and all. Get used to that. Once you go through the stuff around your house, then start hitting some yard sales, hitting some flea markets, and pick out, sell stuff that you know, like you sports cars. Some people are good with Hot Wheels, whatever. Start there, start selling stuff and then you can move on as you're out at a yard sale and you see something. I try to be as nonchalant as I can. Go around the corner and look it up. I still look things up. But yeah, there's still an opportunity for people to make money.
Is there a go-to item that you've kind of repeatedly gone to over the years that seems to be a good margin for you and just easy to move?
So I have went from selling everything that I can get my hands on. Um, I sold when I first started. I found a three-tiered hobnail lamp. It was about 2 foot tall, and it had the white milk glass in three different tiers. And you flip the switch.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so I sold it on eBay and I didn't know what to pack it in. So I got this big old box, and I looked around and I grabbed this blanket that Julie had in the bedroom. Yeah, blanket, shipped it off, right? Well, the lady messaged me with a picture. It was in 1,000 pieces. And then like,
Oh.
what happened to my grandma's blanket? So I shipped this thing and her grandma's blanket that she gave her. So I say that to say this. I went from I don't sell anything breakable anymore. No plates, glasses, nothing. So now I just sell primary clothing because I can throw it in a pop
Mm,
bag and ship it off. So that's my main deal right now, is just clothes.
yeah.
But
Interesting.
I'm always looking for gold, jewelry. That's your big money. Um, and then like I look for Hot Wheels. The old Hot Wheels from the 70s, the red lines. Those are valuable. Um, but I mean, if something catches your eye, look it up, check it out. But it's really, when I go to a yard sale, I ask for jewelry. That's my main.
Yeah. I grew up, I loved collecting action figures, and I loved all of that. And so I've saved most of them for my kids, but every once in a while or at least one time I can remember, I sold some at a local comic book store. And what's interesting to me is, I guess this is obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me at the time when I was collecting growing up, is it seems like anything that I have that says collectors on it is worth less than some random unboxed set of figures that I have that's more rare and
Mhm.
not in pristine condition and a little bit of paint off of it. I'm like, so that's been my experience with action figures, but then I have a really special Sandy Koufax card that my dad got me. It's very sentimental to me. I forget, it's like 1957 or whatever. I love it. But I wanted to take it to a card shop just to see, hey,
Mhm.
how much is this thing worth? Like, I don't think I have a number on this thing because of the
Yeah.
sentimental value, but let me just go checking them. And I thought this was a great card, and he looked at it for 2 seconds, and he wasn't the least bit interested in it because it wasn't in pristine condition. And to my eyes, I'm like, this is great condition. What, you don't want my card? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
So, well, and then, okay, I went to this one area in Dallas, and I don't know if they have money or what, but I looked up on eBay. I have a couple of Ulysses Grant memoirs that are like leather bound, and I think on eBay they're selling for like 750 bucks. So I took it to this antique bookstore in Dallas, and I walked in there, and it was like a TV show in there. It was like all of these people were just sitting around talking, and I wanted to see if they had any interest in my books, and I had them in a bag. They didn't even want to look in my bag. They had no interest in looking at my bag. I'm thinking I could have something from the Dead Sea Scrolls in my bag, and you don't even want to like take a little peek and see what I got. Like, anyway, I'm still upset by that. I shouldn't be upset by that. But man, I love garage sailing, and the sofa that is in my living room right now, I found at an antique shop for $25.
Yeah, I'm
And
telling
it's one of those sofas that like your grandma has, and you take the best naps on it. I called my wife, I'm like, Angela, I gotta get this sofa. I don't know how I'm gonna get it home, but I gotta get it. It's only $25. I don't know why it's $25, but I need this for
you.
my
Yeah,
naps.
yard sales are the way to go. I mean, I've got a over here on my back porch. I've got a table from Subway. You know, one of those little Subway tables that you sit at. You know,
Yeah.
there was a restaurant closing down, and this guy had one at a yard sale, so I got it for $20. You know, so I got me a little Subway picnic table on my back porch here.
So So you've got this synergy. So you do the garage sales, you do the flea markets, and then you're at the pawn shop.
Yes.
So how we've all watched the pawn shop type TV shows, which I love.
Yeah.
What are is it like that or it's not like that at all?
Uh-huh.
What has been your experience compared to what we've all seen?
Okay. So, a friend of mine, he owns the pawn shop. We've known each other for 20 something years, and he's been after me for years to work there because he's the only one working there 6 days a week for the last 16 years. Well, 13 years. I've been there 3 years now. And so finally one day I'm like, you know what? This is going to be fun. So I did it. I said, all right, I'll work for you. So I'm there 3 days a week. And so with my knowledge over the last 20 something years of the value of stuff really helped me in the pawn business because I was able to generate a lot of income for him that he had no knowledge of. For example, like video games and video consoles and sports cars and collectible stuff that he just primarily purchased guns and jewelry. That's it. Maybe some tools. And so it's in a small town here in Keystone, so we don't get a whole lot of like cool stuff in, like on TV on Pawn Stars, but it's sort of similar. People will come in and they're like, to them their stuff is worth $1,000,000. You know, the biggest thing I see is these guys, they'll go out and they'll buy jewelry for their girlfriend or their fiance and they break up. And they'll come in the pawn shop, and this one guy not too long ago, he comes in and he had just a regular old gold band with a little bit of diamond chips on. Like, well, let me see what you got. So we just buy jewelry, buy gold by the gram. We have a certain dollar amount that we pay. So I put it on a scale. I looked at, tested it, everything was good. He had about $120 worth of gold. I said, buddy, I can only give you about $120, man. He goes, what? I'm like, yep. So these jewelry stores, man, they just hike up the price, the value of the jewelry. So I see a lot of that come in the store. Let's see what else. It's overall, it's not too exciting, because we're in a small town. We get a lot of guns in. People come in selling guns and buying guns, selling tools. So it's days can be really really busy or really really slow, you know. So that's about it in the pawn business here. It can be exciting at times because you never know what's going to walk through the door. Just like they say,
Yeah.
you just never know. But we haven't really had anything like that just stands out, exciting come.
I lost you. You there? Darren, you're breaking up.
Are we back?
Darren, we're back. Are you
Man,
still working? Hey, how are you still working off of dial-up? How do you get dial-up to work on your phone?
I know. So I don't know what happened. So I shut off my Wi-Fi and now I'm on the data plan. So with the satellite, so hopefully it won't freeze up again.
Oh, no problem.
So anyhow, pawn shop. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. You meet a lot of just unusual people. The inventory that comes in, nothing really exciting because you know where I'm at. But it's fun. Sometimes some interesting stuff will come in that I'll have to look up, but nothing like you see on TV.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's interesting though. So when people pawn an item, do they typically get it back in time? Or is there any ever drama with that situation? Like, oh, they're a day late and it was,
Yeah, yeah. So being out here in Keystone, we do things a little bit different than some of the big city pawn shops. So if you're a day late picking up your pawn, you are out of luck. It is their inventory. If you want it, you have to buy it back at their price. Um, Here, if you sometimes people aren't able to get their item out of pawn, and they can make an interest payment and extend their default date for another month. And that happens quite a bit. People get into hard times and they'll come in and pawn their jewelry or their gun, and they'll pawn like heirlooms jewelry and
wow.
guns that were their grandparents, and they'll be late, and they'll call them like, oh, I'm so late, blah blah blah, can you please help me out? And we'll help them out. We'll give them an extra 2 or 3 days, that way they don't lose their family heirloom.
Yeah.
um but some people will come in, they'll come in as like they'll bring in like, I don't know, a lawnmower. And they're like, yeah, man, I just need $100. I promise you, I'll be back. I'll be back this weekend. I promise you. This is my dad's lawnmower, the best lawnmower ever. They try, and they're like, I promise you, I'm going to be back to pick it up. Well, you never see them again. People that say stuff like that, right away they're never coming back. And so probably I would say about 60% of the people come get their stuff.
Hmm.
The other 40, even though I mean, life happens, and they may have all good intentions to come back and get their stuff, but sometimes life happens. They just don't have the money to come get
Yeah.
it, and then they wind up losing it.
Yeah.
But if people if they're in hard times and they made a few interest payments so they don't lose it, and if they need an extra few days, we'll give them a few days. That way they don't lose their, family heirloom or their grandpa's shotgun or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really not. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of drama out here. Everybody's really pretty cool. You know, so
Well,
not a
it's
lot of that.
interesting.
A lot of big city. Like you see on that one pawn shop on TV where there's a lot of screaming and yelling and fighting, and there's none of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
none of.
like that one too. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Well, because I've been to the one in Las Vegas, because we actually married in Las Vegas, so that was one of the places that I wanted to go, was
The
down
Pawn
there.
Stars.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, yeah. So we've been down to that pawn shop, and I didn't see Rick or any of those guys,
yeah,
but it was a cool shop, and I wanted to make sure and go there.
yeah.
Um,
That's what Yeah. Same way I went to American Pickers in Tennessee.
oh, really? How was that?
It was just like nobody was there. It was just like you know they had all their stuff on display that they found that you saw on TV.
Yeah,
But they had somebody working there, and they were selling gifts and souvenirs and stuff like that. It was like
yeah,
you know like a little walk through um, uh, museum kind of a deal.
yeah. I love that show.
Yeah,
It's interesting hearing you talk though, like about how you give grace to people at the pawn shop, because I think about the difference between a big city and a small town is like you're running into so many of the same people. Like
yeah,
there's nowhere for you to hide.
no, nope. And you got to think about and sometimes we have to be firm and stern with people, but you got to give them respect. because you never know when you're broke down alongside the road one day, that person may be the one to stop to help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, um, sometimes people do lose their stuff, and it's just part of the business. But we still treat them with with respect, and we feel bad for them, but that's just part of the business. We loan them cash, and we have to recoup our cash, and make money and keep the business going.
Yeah.
Part of it, and they understand that when they come into the pawn shop.
Yeah.
It hurts sometimes when they lose something, but even even if they do lose it, we do give them an opportunity to purchase it back at a little bit of a, not a huge profit, but for a small profit for us, but where it's affordable for them to buy it back.
Yeah. Well, and so I love that you guys do that. It's
Yeah, I think it's good for our little community, and like you said, we see everybody at the grocery store and Johnny's barbecue, when we're out to eat and stuff like that, and people appreciate you when you try to help them out.
yeah,
And then
people get
they
to learn how you really are.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, and you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business owner. You clean carpets, right?
Yeah, yep. I just had a job today.
So how it's so interesting to me just the management of so many different things and um the small town. How do you balance everything? How do you find customers for your carpet cleaning? How is that in a small town?
Yeah, so I created when I first started that in 2004. Just shortly after I started doing eBay. But I started cleaning carpet for a local flooring company in Keystone, and so I learned to clean carpet, working for them. And so I left there, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start my own carpet cleaning. So I opened up, created a Facebook page, to pictures of me and my equipment, and I just started doing Facebook posts and handing out business cards. I went business to business, handing out business cards, and and then just eventually through the years by doing good quality work, it's just all word of mouth. And now I hardly ever even put anything on Facebook, as far as on carpet cleaning, because now it's just all word of mouth. I know I do have. I went in and did something with a Google thing, so people can search carpet cleaning in Keystone, and then I'll pop up. My Facebook page will pop up. So what I do to manage that is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I'm at the pawn shop, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday I do the carpet cleaning, and then eBay weekends I go find my inventory on the weekends, and then uh, I do all my. I'm paying Aaron to do my photography for me. He takes photos of all my inventory and creates a draft. And then in the evenings, I go in and I do all my eBay stuff in the evenings. And then
Wow.
in the morning, early in the morning, I have my coffee and I'll pack up all my packages for the day before. And so I just got that little routine, and it works out pretty good.
Well, let me ask you this before we wrap up. Leave us with a word of encouragement. Maybe somebody who is like working at a job or they're working for somebody else and they're scared to jump out and do something independent.
Yes.
And you've been doing so many different things. What would you say to somebody like that?
So this is what I'm going to say. So if you're at a job, if you have a job, keep your job. First thing, keep your job, because you're not going to get rich right away. Number two, if you want to start a business, you just have to do it. I was scared. I didn't want to go out and buy all this carpet cleaning equipment because I didn't know if I was going to get any business or not. Um, so keep your main job. If you want to start a business, just do it. Just go all in and just do it. That's, because you're not going to succeed if you don't just, everybody has to start somewhere. Everybody starts at ground zero. So just start doing that. Same way if you want to start an eBay business, keep your job and then just slowly build your eBay business. But you can do it. If you have a dream, if you've ever thought about doing it, my word of advice is just keep your main job, but just do it. Just go for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, don't be scared. Just do it.
Darren, you have done it, and you are doing it, man.
Yes. Yeah. I'm right now. I am like I told my buddy at the pawn shop. I said like I am unhireable. I don't think I could go and work for somebody because I'll probably get fired the first day. But I tell you what, though, my customers, man, I treat my carpet cleaning customers like gold. I treat my eBay customers like gold. And then when I'm at the pawn shop, I treat everybody there, as they're my customer because it's just me and him, and I'm a representative. So, do your job, make your money to pay your bills, but start your business and treat your customers like gold, and then you'll be fine.
Oh,
that's it.
Darren.
That's all there is to it.
That's awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for talking to me, man.
Chad, I can't believe I'm doing a podcast. I'm so excited.
Hey, this was fantastic, and we'll definitely have to talk again because
Yeah.
we have some history. We have other stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Yes. I'm excited. I'm happy for you though, man. Jump
Oh,
in.
thanks, man.
Hey, like I just said, you wanted to do a podcast. You did it. You
Yeah,
just
I
jumped
don't
right
know what I'm
into it.
doing. That's
Yeah.
part of it. I'm just trying to fail in public, man.
That's how you do it, man. You fail a million times before you finally get it right.
Yeah,
You should see
that's
some
right.
stupid YouTube videos. Now I don't have a lot of videos on YouTube because I deleted like hundreds of them because they were because I was yelling into the camera. Hello, my name is Darren Hottinger. Welcome to. So I deleted a bunch of them.
Well, I'm still gonna put Garage Sale Genius in the description so that
Oh,
people can go check that out.
yes, if you want to look at my eBay account, go to the Garage Sale Genius on eBay, and you look at it. You can look at anything on my eBay account to get any ideas you need.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Darren, thank you so much, man.
Chad, thank you, buddy.
Bye.
All right, bye.